Good evening, everyone. I am Soana Benjamin at the news desk presenting Emo Nightly News for May 29th, 2026. May 29th is remembered as one of the biggest protests in Dominica's history. And on to tonight's headlines. DAPD holds 42nd AGM. Says Dominica lags behind in ease of access to quality educational opportunities for persons with a disability. Prime Minister and DPSU to meet over long-standing concerns at the Dominica State College. Russian drone crashes into Romanian apartment building, injuring 2. Cuba calls for international action against U.S. policies at UN Security Council debate. Stay tuned, the details of these stories and more coming up.
Tico, that's $800. Cash or card?
When cash is low, Tico is still ready.
Always card, Chalo.
Would you like a copy of the receipt?
No, Chalo. NBD already sent me the alert and I'll see it on Mo Banking later. That is it. From card to farm. Power your business with the NBD Small Business Credit Card. Your partner, your bank.
First up in local news. The Dominican Guild of Cuban Graduates held a medical preventive care session via Zoom this evening for Dominicans, both male and female, over the age of 40. The event, moderated by Dr. Griffin Benjamin, featured Doctors Karen Robinson and Michael Lawrence. Let's hear from Guild member Dr. Damian Dublin.
The Dominican Guild of Cuban Graduates, as part of its re-energizing and reorganizing process, and noting the importance of its role in the continued development of Dominica, is organizing a Zoom health presentation on Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. The presenters will be 2 very experienced health professionals. Dr. Michael Bright Lawrence from Portsmouth, a Cuban graduate, U.S. board certified physician, specialist in geriatric care with 24 years of experience practicing in North Carolina. Dr. Karen Robinson, Dominican, graduated from Howard Medical School, board-certified obstetrician and gynecologist with over 2 decades of experience in that field, and also an active member of the Dominica Medical Association.
According to Dr. Dublin, the session is invaluable in the fight against non-communicable chronic diseases.
The Guild, recognizing the importance of this topic to our population, noting the various chronic diseases affecting our population, both men and women, and also other issues which affect women in particular. So we call on all to tune in and listen and learn.
If you missed the session, you can catch the replay live on EmoNews Facebook and YouTube pages. The Dominica Association of Persons with Disabilities, DAPD, held its 42nd annual general meeting on Wednesday, May 27th, under the theme Sustaining the Disability Movement in a Rapidly Changing Global Environment. The DAPD emphasized the importance of the theme, noting, as the world changes rapidly, we must ensure that persons with disabilities remain empowered, included, and at the forefront of national and regional development. Past president of the association, Judy Sango, highlighted a few of the successes of the organization over the last year.
At the Dominica Association of Persons with Disabilities in the year 2025, a series of successful events were hosted to include the successful hosting of the annual National Dollar Day event, which ran from September to December 2025, as well as sign language courses throughout the year. We also hosted Dinner in the Dark 2025, as well as a series of advocacy events that took place through radio programs and other means.
Sango also addressed some of the challenges faced by the DAPD.
The reception of persons with disabilities by the general public, also unemployment among persons living with disabilities, and of course, one of the major things that is still needing change is the implementation of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities.
During the annual general meeting, longtime leader of the organization, Natalie Murphy, took a moment to celebrate the recent employment of Loic Charles. Murphy noted that the organization had often expressed concern over Charles's unemployment for nearly 3 years after he returned home from pursuing his studies in Texas. She said his recent employment was a significant achievement and a reason for celebration.
We have our success story here, Loic. And of course, Loic is now Loic. Last year we were only lamenting, and it was 3 years, and he was still unemployed. And then, you know, when you have faith and when you persons with disabilities, we persevere. Eventually, Loic became an employee in the office of the Prime Minister. And I think this is something that we should celebrate. Working with him and showing that his job description really brings results for us in the disability movement.
Murphy also addressed the accessibility of inclusive, quality education for persons with disabilities in Dominica. While highlighting several successes achieved over the years, she noted that there is still much work to be done to ensure that all persons with disabilities have equal access to quality education and the resources needed to reach their full potential.
One of our directors was in a wheelchair. Matthias went through mainstream education. He went to the Dominican Grammar School, Cambridge School. Oh, another success story, yes, is that of our secretary. Now, Seraphine is someone whose speech is impaired. She's mobility impaired, but Seraphine is a very educated young lady, and she's our secretary. And Seraphine doesn't have use of all her hands, of her finger. But Seraphine types our minutes on her phone with one finger for us. And within a shake of a week or so, we have our minutes. Recently, with Israel Aid, had a work online course, and she topped the polls. We graduated with distinction. So, we continue to persevere, we continue to promote persons with disabilities, because there are still barriers, there are still obstacles that persons with disabilities have been experiencing to access education, and we're talking about quality education, inclusive quality education.
Elections of officers for the new year will be done at a subsequent meeting of the organization. The AGM took place at the Nathalie Murphy Auditorium, located at the DAPD's Multipurpose Development Center in Goodwill. Applications for the EU CAN Cultivating Futures, Empowering Youths for a Food Secure Region project closes on Friday, June 5th. Primary schools in Dominica have been encouraged to apply for support under the EU CAN Cultivating Futures project. The project seeks to strengthen food security, nutrition, education, climate resilience, and youth engagement through ecological school gardens. These gardens will serve as living classrooms where children learn about sustainable agriculture, nutrition, teamwork, environmental stewardship, and food systems. By linking school gardens directly to school meals, the project promotes a practical garden-to-lunch model that improves access to fresh, locally grown produce, supporting more resilient and sustainable school feeding systems. National Director of 4-H Dominica, Bert Paul, encourages schools to apply to the project before the close of applications on June 5th.
As director of the Dominica National 4-H Club, I am encouraging all schools with a 4-H program to apply to the Zero Hunger Trust Fund to help with the improvement of your school garden space. Schools can benefit from the program in many ways. 1, to strengthen climate-smart garden space at your school. 2, to ensure school meals are provided with fresh, locally grown foods. 3, to empower students with practical skills in agriculture. And 4, to integrate hands-on learning into the curriculum.
The Prime Minister of Dominica, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, and the Dominica Public Service Union, DPSU, are expected to meet during the first week of June to discuss a number of concerns raised by faculty and staff of the Dominica State College. According to the DPSU, some of the issues date back to the period before Hurricane Maria, while others emerged in the aftermath of the devastating storm. The decision to seek the Prime Minister's intervention followed discussions between union leaders and college staff, many of whom expressed frustration over the prolonged delays in resolving several outstanding matters and had begun contemplating protest action. Among the key concerns to be discussed are insufficient government subvention to the college, the lengthy delay in appointing a president, incomplete repairs to the institution's physical infrastructure, the non-appointment of a large number of staff members, and delays in implementing recommendations arising from a job evaluation and classification exercise. The meeting will also provide an opportunity for discussions on improving the overall governance and operations of the Dominica State College, as stakeholders seek solutions to the challenges affecting the institution. The 45th Annual Charismatic Conference is taking place from May 29th to the 31st at the St. Alphonsus Parish Hall, bringing together worshippers and members of the faith community for 3 days of prayer, praise, fellowship, and spiritual renewal. This year's conference is being held under the theme, "The Light of Christ Shines in the Darkness, and the Darkness Cannot Overcome It," taken from John chapter 1 and verse 5. Organizers say the conference will focus on strengthening faith, encouraging believers to remain steadfast amid life's challenges, and celebrating the power of Christ's light to overcome darkness. The annual gathering is expected to attract participants from across Dominica and beyond as they come together to deepen their spiritual journey through worship sessions, teachings, and fellowship activities. Once again, the conference will run through Sunday, May 31st at the St. Alphonsus Parish Hall.
Rise from your sleep, a new day is dawning.
The two-day 2026 Grade 6 National Assessment came to an end today, marking a significant milestone in the lives of hundreds of primary school students across Dominica. The assessment serves as an important exit exam, signaling the completion of the students' primary school education and their transition to the secondary level. While the name and format of the exam has changed over the years, it remains a highly anticipated event for students, parents, teachers, and communities alike. For many, the assessment represents the culmination of years of hard work and preparation, while communities eagerly await the results and the performance of their respective schools.
The Ministry of Education, Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training, and National Excellence is pleased to inform the public that the administration of the annual Grade 6 National Assessment officially concluded today, Friday, May 29, 2026. According to comprehensive reports received from all 62 designated testing centers, the overall administrative process was highly successful without major incident. The ministry remains committed to fostering national excellence and expresses its profound gratitude to all key stakeholders and wishes all 792 students the absolute best as they await their results.
EmoNews spoke with several students following the conclusion of the assessment to hear about their experience and how they felt after completing the exams. Here are their thoughts.
Today we had mathematics and science. The mathematics was easy, but the science was in between. In the science exam, we had questions on the solar system and agriculture.
Yesterday we had social science and language arts. In the social science exam, there was a man who lives abroad and he wanted to know what is going on in Dominica. The question asked which of these agencies would he be listening to. The options had Some Caribbean Something and EmoNews. I chose EmoNews.
And finally, on the local scene, brilliance, talent, and loads of cuteness will be on display on June 5th at the grounds of the St. Martin Primary School as 5 students from both the infant and junior sections grace the stage in the Little Miss Summer Blooming Beauty pageant. The contestants are Kaylee Badwill, Miss Oleander, Joyanne Later, Miss Hibiscus, Canelsa Valmore, Miss Periwinkle, Kaylin Jones, Miss Anthurium, and Ari Phillip, Miss Ginger Lily. Event organizer Miss Cynthia John Lewis spoke to EmoNews about the reason for the pageant.
The purpose of the show is primarily a fundraising activity for the school. There are a number of projects which we want to undertake. Additionally, it will also help the girls in their confidence, their public speaking, the showcase of their talents, because we know, as the show states, it's blooming beauties, and they are the young persons who may become the future Miss Dominica, Miss World.
John Lewis also called on sponsors to come forward to assist the contestants.
Currently, we have full sponsorship for one student or one contestant, and there is partial sponsorship for 2 students. So we are appealing to the general public as whatever it is that they can contribute towards the students or the contestants.
And remember, you have exactly 1 week to get your tickets for Little Miss Summer. Tickets are on sale at $5 for students of the school, $10 for all other students, and $15 for adults. Here's Miss John Lewis as she encourages you to come to Little Miss Summer on June 5th at 2:30 p.m.
We are appealing to the general public to come out and support our show on the 5th of June 2026 at the school grounds.
And that's all for tonight's local news. Stay tuned, regional news coming up.
Across our Caribbean, we're going digital, working smarter and living safer online.
In Dominica, we don't fall for fake prizes. We check before we click.
In Grenada, we verify before we share, keeping our hard-earned money safe from hackers.
In St. Lucia, we report cyberbullying, protecting our children and each other.
In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we report scams fast, protecting our neighbors and our communities.
Together, we're building a cyber-smart Caribbean, keeping our people and our data safe, standing up to scams and cybercrime. We stay connected, but always alert. This message is brought to you by the Caribbean Digital Transformation Project. Stay smart, stay safe. Think CARD TP. Visit cardtpconnect.org.
On the regional scene, Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre was recently presented with a variety of fresh produce and agro-processed products by students of the TVET School of Sustainable Agriculture and Culinary Arts, following the Agro-Food Processing Showcase 2026. The presentation served as a token of appreciation for the Prime Minister's continued support of TVET education, food security initiatives, and efforts to strengthen local agricultural production. Here is more in this report.
And to thank the people who have taken on the ideological shift into vocational education. We hope that it will go from strength to strength. I want to thank the teachers again and the principal and the Ministry of Education for moving forward as we continue our vision of growing what you eat and eating what you grow.
The community of Bellevue in St. David, Grenada, is celebrating a major milestone in arts education following the official launch of the Bellevue Music School, a new initiative designed to nurture musical talent and empower young people through the arts. The project was established through a partnership between the Embassy of the People's Republic of China and the Member of Parliament for St. David, Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell. Approximately 299,000 EC dollars was invested to refurbish the facility and equip it with modern musical instruments and educational resources. The school will provide accessible music education to young people across St. David and neighboring communities, offering training in instrumental music, vocal performance, music theory, and traditional cultural music. Speaking at the launch, Prime Minister Mitchell described the initiative as an investment in the future of Grenada's youth, noting that it will help create opportunities, build confidence, and preserve the nation's rich cultural heritage. Chinese Ambassador Yang Shu highlighted the importance of cultural cooperation, describing music as a universal language that connects people and fosters creativity and understanding. The Bellevue Music School is expected to become a center for artistic excellence, providing training, workshops, and performance opportunities, while contributing to the continued growth of Grenada's vibrant cultural sector. The official opening ceremony was held on May 21st and was attended by government officials, diplomats, educators, community leaders, and residents. And finally, in regional news, Antigua and Barbuda has taken a major step forward in its tourism development with the official groundbreaking ceremony for a US $200 million Long Bay Zen Resort, a luxury project expected to transform the country's eastern coastline. The new resort will feature 113 luxury accommodations built around the concept of quiet luxury, offering guests an exclusive and tranquil Caribbean experience. One of the resort's standout attractions will be an over-the-water chapel designed to strengthen Antigua and Barbuda's reputation as one of the Caribbean's premier wedding and honeymoon destinations. According to officials, the development is expected to generate employment opportunities, attract high-end visitors, and provide a significant boost to the nation's tourism industry and economic growth. The Long Bay Zen Resort represents one of the largest recent tourism investments in Antigua and Barbuda and is expected to further enhance the country's position as a leading luxury travel destination in the region.
A luxury product that can command a premium, and at the same time we expect them to take care of their staff. We're pursuing our development in an integrated way. We want to make sure that these luxury products, that they can operate profitably, and at the same time that they will invest heavily in their staff to include their pay.
At the heart of this resort is our commitment to sustainability. We rely heavily on green energy with low carbon operations designed to leave the lightest possible footprint on this protected coastline.
Stay tuned. International news coming up next. On the international scene, a Russian drone involved in an overnight attack on Ukraine crashed into an apartment building in eastern Romania, injuring 2 people and prompting renewed calls for stronger air defense support from NATO. Romanian authorities said the drone entered Romanian airspace before crashing onto the roof of a residential building in the city of Galati, triggering a fire. 2 people sustained minor injuries while several residents were evacuated as emergency crews responded to the scene. Romania's defense ministry said the drone was tracked by radar, prompting the military to scramble 2 F-16 fighter jets and a helicopter. Authorities also issued emergency alerts to residents in affected areas. Following the incident, Romania called on NATO to accelerate the transfer of anti-drone capabilities, describing the drone's flight into its territory as a serious violation of international law. The incident comes as Russia continues its campaign of missile and drone strikes against Ukraine. Ukrainian President Zelensky has urged the United States to provide additional Patriot air defense missiles, warning that supplies are becoming increasingly strained. Meanwhile, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned that the escalating conflict risks spiraling out of control and called for immediate de-escalation, diplomacy, and a full and unconditional ceasefire. Portugal has recorded its hottest day ever for the month of May, as a powerful heatwave continues to affect several countries across Western Europe. The Portuguese town of Moura recorded a temperature of 40.3 degrees Celsius on Wednesday, surpassing the country's previous May record of 40 degrees set in 2001. The extreme heat has prompted authorities across Europe to take precautionary measures. In France, government officials met to assess the country's readiness for heat waves, including preparations for wildfires and water shortages. Several schools have also been affected, with one primary school reportedly reaching temperatures of 53 degrees Celsius indoors earlier this week. In Italy, authorities issued red heatwave alerts for Rome and several other major cities, warning of possible health risk even for healthy individuals. Temperatures in Rome reached 32 degrees Celsius on Thursday. The unusually hot conditions have also impacted sporting events. World #1 tennis player Jannik Sinner struggled with dizziness and fatigue during the French Open in Paris, where temperatures climbed over 30 degrees Celsius. Meteorologists say the heat wave is being driven by a heat dome, a high-pressure system that traps hot air over large areas. Scientists continue to warn that climate change is making heat waves more frequent and more intense across Europe. The United Nations has also warned that global temperatures are likely to remain at or near record levels over the next several years, with another record-breaking year considered likely before 2031. Finally, in international news, Cuba's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Bruno Rodriguez Parilla, used the United Nations Security Council debate on May 26 to call for stronger international support against what he describes as escalating United States policies toward Cuba. Addressing the debate on upholding the purposes and principles of the United Nations Charter, Rodriguez Parilla urged the international community to strengthen multilateralism, international law, and the UN's role in maintaining global peace and security. The Cuban foreign minister strongly criticized U.S. sanctions and restrictions on Cuba, arguing that the measures have severe humanitarian consequences for the Cuban people. He also condemned the recent indictment of Army General Raul Castro Ruz, describing it as politically motivated and warning that it could be used to justify future aggression against the island. Rodriguez Parilla maintained that Cuba poses no threat to the United States and reaffirmed Havana's willingness to engage in dialogue on issues of mutual interest, provided discussions are based on respect for sovereignty and non-interference. He called on the international community, Latin America and the Caribbean, the Global South, the UN Security Council, and the UN General Assembly to act to prevent what he described as a potential humanitarian crisis and to preserve regional peace and stability. The remarks were delivered during an open debate convened by China at the United Nations headquarters in New York, focusing on strengthening the UN-centered international system and promoting peaceful solutions to global conflicts. And that's all the news for this evening. The sports package coming up.
New game in town. Get ready to match 5 and you can win 10K. Let's go. Play with just $2. Match 5 numbers from 1 to 29 to win. Draws every Wednesday and Saturday at 9 p.m. It's easy, fun, and local. Match 5, your local jackpot game. Dominican National Lottery.
In sports news, Haiti's qualification for the FIFA World Cup has sparked celebrations across the Caribbean nation, providing a rare moment of unity and hope for a country grappling with gang violence, displacement, economic hardship, and a worsening humanitarian crisis. The historic achievement marks Haiti's return to the World Cup for the first time in more than 50 years. The national team secured its place in the tournament after defeating Nicaragua in a World Cup qualifier, prompting jubilant celebrations in the streets of Port-au-Prince. Midfielder Lucius Didson, who scored one of the decisive goals, described the moment as one of national unity, saying it had been a long time since Haitians came together in such a positive way. The accomplishment is particularly remarkable given the challenges facing the team. Ongoing insecurity and gang violence have forced the national squad to train and play abroad, while many sports facilities in Haiti have been damaged, abandoned, or allocated in areas controlled by armed forces. Despite the difficulties, players and officials hope the World Cup qualification will inspire young people and shine a positive spotlight on Haiti. Sports leaders say football continues to offer opportunities and hope for youth at a time when many communities are facing severe social and economic challenges. As Haiti prepares for the world's biggest football stage, many citizens are hoping the achievement will serve as a symbol of resilience and a source of pride for the nation during one of its most difficult periods. In basketball, the Western Conference Finals are heading to a decisive Game 7 after the San Antonio Spurs dominated the Oklahoma City Thunder 118-91 in Game 6. Victor Wembanyama led the Spurs with 28 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 blocks as San Antonio evened the series at 3-3 and kept its NBA Finals hopes alive. The winner of Game 7 will advance to face the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals. New York already secured its spot after sweeping the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals, marking the franchise's first Finals appearance since 1999. Another concern for the Knicks is the status of center Mitchell Robinson, who reportedly suffered a broken pinky finger. His availability for the NBA Finals remains uncertain. Game 7 between Oklahoma City and San Antonio is scheduled for May 30th in Oklahoma City, with the winner advancing to the NBA Finals against New York. And in cricket news, the Dominican Cricket Association has announced a 37-player preliminary training squad as preparations get underway for the 2026 Windward Islands Senior Men's Tournament, scheduled for July and August. The selected players will begin training in the coming weeks as they compete for places on the final national team. The association has also reminded players that participation in Premier League matches remains a requirement for national selection. Here is more from Kimara Ito, Public Relations Officer of the Dominican Cricket Association.
The Dominican Cricket Association has officially announced a preliminary squad of 37 players to begin preparations for the upcoming Windward Islands Senior Men's Tournament scheduled for July-August 2026. The selected players are Jelani Robinson, Gian Benjamin, Sholon George, Arsenio Fontaine, Luvio Charles, Dowen Lewis, Jason Alexander, Brian Joseph, Neo Davis, Casimir Benjamin, Edmond Morency, Kamal Hamilton, Darren Toussaint, Joel Durand, Micah Joseph, Diony Roll, Gilon Tyson, Alec Athanas, Kavem Hodge, Kyron Phillip, Tyrese LeBlanc, Malachi Xavier, Ethan Doctrove, Daniel Dupeny, Akan Edwards, Jason Vidal, Stefan Pascal, CJ Charles, Delani Alexander, Yawani Regis, Chauvin Dorset, Jed Joseph, Jelani Joseph, Aidan Burton, Kester Lestrade, Shirkwan Toussaint, and Savio Ansem. The selection panel also emphasized that all players must participate in the Premier League matches to remain eligible for national team selection and representation. The Dominica Cricket Association extends congratulations and best wishes to all selected players as preparations begin for the regional tournament.
In more cricket news, the 2026 NCCU DCA Premier League continues this weekend with 3 highly anticipated matches set to take place. At the Benjamin Park in Portsmouth, Nagico Northern Stars will face Convenience Plus Maho in a 2-day encounter beginning on Saturday, May 30th at 1 p.m. and continuing on Sunday, May 31st at 10 a.m. At Geneva in Grand Bay, the Grand Bay Cooperative Credit Union Colts will take on the Signman Kalinago Blasters in another 2-day contest starting Saturday afternoon and resuming Sunday morning. Meanwhile, at the Botanic Gardens in Roseau, KFC Summit Sports Club will battle Tremors in what is expected to be another exciting Premier League showdown. Cricket fans are being encouraged to come out and support their teams as the competition continues under the theme One League, One Passion, One Dominica. And finally, in sports news, a major upset as the French Open men's draw has been blown wide after world number 1 Yannick Sinner crashed out in the second round. Battling illness and the Paris heat, Sinner lost in 5 sets to Argentina's Juan Manuel Sorondolo. With Carlos Alcaraz already sidelined through injury, Novak Djokovic now emerges as the leading contender for a record 25th Grand Slam title. The 39-year-old remains the only former major champion left in the draw. Alexander Zverev is also seen as a strong contender, but questions remain over whether he can finally deliver on the biggest stage after several painful Grand Slam defeats. That's all for sports. We'll be right back with the weather report.
Hello, good day, and welcome to today's weather broadcast from the Mesh Studio at Jimit for today, May 29th, 2026. We're starting off today for satellite imagery, and a high-pressure system is dominant across the Lesser Antilles today, and we find quite a bit of non-showery mid to upper-level clouds across the area. However, as we move eastward across the Atlantic, we find an increase in low-level clouds associated with this tropical wave, which is expected to begin affecting parts of the Lesser Antilles tomorrow, Saturday. Additionally, we find this area, this vast dust plume, extending from the west coast of Africa across the Atlantic and into the Caribbean basin. Hazy conditions are expected to persist into next week. Zooming in on Dominica today, and we apologize for the animation for today. However, our skies are partly cloudy to cloudy, with most of the cloudiness being observed in the interior and eastern parts of the island. And as we move on to our radar imagery, this is rainfall accumulation for the past 6 hours. We find that just a few brief showers have been observed in eastern communities throughout the morning so far. Communities in the interior and the west have been relatively dry. So for tonight, similar conditions are anticipated. Partly cloudy to cloudy skies, hazy conditions. Our temperatures are expected to be down to about 22 degrees Celsius in the interior, slightly warmer in our coastal communities as a result of the haze, with our temperatures down to about 24-25 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow, that is Saturday, we do expect a slight increase in cloudiness, particularly during the afternoon, as the tropical wave begins to affect the island. So partly cloudy to cloudy skies with some scattered afternoon showers are anticipated. Temperatures are expected to peak to about 27 degrees Celsius in the interior, 33 degrees Celsius in western communities, and 30 degrees Celsius in eastern communities. Occasionally breezy conditions are also anticipated, with winds peaking to about 35 kilometers per hour. And looking ahead, by Sunday, we do expect the atmosphere to dry up once again as an increase in Saharan dust concentration is anticipated. Therefore, we do have a yellow advisory for Sunday and Monday as a result of that increase in dust concentration. Therefore, those of you with respiratory sensitivities to be on the alert and take precautions to avoid complications. Behind the axis of the tropical wave, which is expected to move across the area on Saturday, we do have this surge or increase in wind speeds. So therefore, we do anticipate that our winds to gradually increase from Sunday into Monday, peaking near 45 kilometers by Monday. Temperatures are expected to remain relatively warm, peaking to about 33 degrees Celsius during the daytime hours and 23 degrees Celsius in the interior at night. Our seas in the marine environment are peaking to about 7 feet along the eastern coast, and we expect this to be maintained throughout the weekend and into Monday. The sun will rise tomorrow at 5:33 a.m. and will set at 6:32 p.m. The first high tide tomorrow will be at 2:04 a.m. and the first low tide at 9:23 a.m. Remember that the hurricane season is fast approaching. To continue to plan and to prepare for the season. For updated information, you can join us in our WhatsApp channel by scanning this QR code to gain access, or visit our Facebook or Instagram platforms at Dominica Met. Thank you for joining us today. Do have a great weekend. Until next time.
This has been Emo Nightly News for May 29th, 2026. I am your presenter, Anna Benjamin. Do have a lovely evening, everyone, and goodbye.